Hey all, Scott here from Art of the Genre, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a divergence from what I normally do, which is of course review and give you editor's notes and DM's notes on classic AD&D adventures, or even Gamma World or Star Frontiers, things that are produced by TSR. And I'm going to look at another small publisher like myself, and that would be the 13th Warlock. And I'm going to look at his first adventure here. This is Revenge of the Gobcocker. And the reason I'm taking a look at this is because it's a piece that I actually did editing on. And it was sent to me kind of pre or COVID, or right as COVID hit in the lockdowns. And I had some time, so I was able to go through this in pretty great detail. And I decided to do a Zoom campaign with a friend of mine. And we just did this as a duo. So it was just, I was playing an NPC and he had his player character, and we just kind of went through this adventure piece by piece as I was doing the editing on it. So it was a lot of fun to kind of see how the module was set up and how the 13th Warlock kind of rolled stuff into it. It's a great introductory adventure. It's obviously for first levels. And what Warlock does in this, it's actually 98 pages, which seems enormous for a small module, because it really is a small module. But what you're looking at with what the Warlock does, he is an artist as well as a designer. So like William McCausland, who does the Mutant Epoch, he does all of his own artwork, so the books are just chock full of art. Warlock chocks all his stuff with art, so almost everything in here is going to have some kind of artistic reference. And because what Warlock does is going to be very adult fantasy, you're going to get a lot of sexy stuff that's going on in this module. Not only in the course of the writing and the things that are going on, but certainly in the artwork and a lot of times the magic items. There's actually an NPC or a player character section where you've got a lot of great pre-generated PCs that you can use in both first edition AD&D and 5th edition. And then there's a magic item section with some really twisted magic items. And then of course you've got the module itself, which has some really outstanding maps to it, and just things that I think all DMs and players will get a kick out of. And like I said, it's a very well designed adventure. You can see that the Warlock himself is not only just an artist or a player, but he's really a great DM, and he's done it for a lot of years. And you can tell it when you look at something like this because he's got a really good understanding of what first level characters and their threats are going to be. A lot of times when I looked at the adventure, I thought, man, these things, have 2 or 3 hit points, and is that just too easy? But we were doing it as a duo, my friend and I, and even as a party, I think you're going to get those challenges. A lot of times people will accuse me as a DM. They'll say, man, I wouldn't want to play in one of your campaigns, Scott. You are a rough DM. And maybe that's the case. I like to challenge people, maybe overly challenge people in some of the things I do, certainly in traps. But I think 13th Warlock here has just a very good understanding of what low-level characters need in their threat ratings. One of the things I did with this adventure, and I think would be perfect for anyone running it, it's a great intro adventure into a larger setting or a larger set of adventures. For me, I took this as a primer and rolled those 2 characters as I added in other people from my gaming group, and we went into Village of Hamlet, and then just rolled forward from there. So Village of Hamlet, as you know, is going to be a 1st to 3rd level adventure. So this one typically will take the characters, I think, from 1st to 2nd, I think is where we went. And in doing so, it gives characters going into those new adventures, even the low level ones, a little depth, a little oomph, a tiny bit of magic, and just gives the players a feel before they walk into the town of Hamlet, or they walk into something like Palace of the Silver Princess or Horror on the Hill. They can feel a little bit more experienced going into it once they've gone through this adventure. The adventure takes place in a town called Houndshire. It's very well documented and drawn out and mapped by 13th Warlock. So you have, he's got a great ability to tell a story, and he gives a lot of background on everything in this. So you're not going to have a lot of questions as a DM, like, I wonder how this person acts, or I wonder how the town functions. He's got all that in there. Like I said, this is a lot of gazetteer / adventure. So everything is detailed. The NPCs, their motivations, their stats, everything in here is very well thought out and put together. So when you go into Houndshire, you're going to find out that these two sisters, the Lady Eva and the Lady Sarah, Gawain is their last name, and their father has recently died, and all the characters will have a reason for being there that's already set up, and how they have a relationship to this family. And then from there, you're going to go into their home, because you're searching for their father who's just recently died. You did not know this, but you knew he was sick. And during the course of an evening, you're going to have some great RP sessions where you kind of figure out that there's something a little off in this house with these sisters and with the minstrel who's there as well. And then after that, there's a goblin attack. One of the sisters is taken by the Gobcocker, which is a new monster that's kind of a half goblin, half ogre, and taken into the forest. And then your characters will most likely help the Lady Eva, who was not taken, go find her sister. So that gets into the base of the adventure. You'll go into the forest, you'll have some encounters there with goblins and gnomes and other things like that, and then finally get to a necromancer's tower that is, it's just a ruin by this point, and get into kind of the dungeon basement of that and be able to fight a little bit of undead, some traps, and then the main threat here, which are two were-rats. So very low level stuff, and there's some wargs, some goblins and stuff like that you're going to be fighting, as well as the Gobcocker, and then eventually rescue the Lady Sarah, or that's the hope. And like I said, there is some twisted stuff in here. The artwork is going to be very sexy. So if you're ordering it or you're getting it, just keep that in mind of who you're going to be running this with. But again, very well set up module. And like I said, it's a perfect piece to go into other low-level classic dungeons or modules from TSR, if those are the things you're looking at, or even give characters a little bit of an onus before you start your own sandbox. I very much recommend this. This started for a campaign for me that went about 10 months, and all the characters involved in it, went on this rather epic kind of campaign, where the Lady Eva even went along with us in the end and became a player character. So it's very easy to roll stuff like this in, because all the characters are so well documented, have such great backgrounds, and you can use them easily to place in and out. So I would highly recommend it. Like I said, it's got a lot of great art. It's a thick, almost 100 pages, soft cover, and like I said, it's just filled up with art. So keep that in mind if you're going through it. Again, I highly recommend it, and it's just one of those fun pieces that if you get sick of or do not want to use, constantly reuse AD&D stuff that was produced in the 1980s, this is a great new piece to come in and kind of add to your collection and just give a new ability to start a campaign with. So again, highly recommend it, and I hope you've enjoyed the little go-through we've had today with this. And I'll put some links below so you can find it on his website if you want to give yourself a purchase. But as always, thanks for watching, and great gaming.